You can launch up to 12 gellets.
All right, welcome back here to World Cup 2023. You got about 10 seconds to the match. I'm joined by Christ. You want to introduce yourself?
How's it going? It's John Christ, coach of the Padres, and we combine with leverage right now. Let's get this breakout on the way.
There you go. Mob on our left. Greenville, Growl on my right. Looks like Growl immediately drops a player.
Both teams pretty similar breakout here. Both teams dropped a player as well.
Absolutely. 4-on-4. P-Mob chooses to push up the middle. Unfortunately, they lose their home player, so P-Mob's down to 3.
Down 2.
P-Mob has really no snake presence or no threat to get into the snake.
Growl into the snake now. He's going to look to chop up a Dorito player here from this bunker. Well, now looking down the wire. As soon as he realizes it's pretty much open, it should be a green light here.
Just to make me look bad, P-Mob immediately took the snake as soon as I made that statement.
But, you know,
and then
he's taking the walk.
Yeah. They're going to fill out to that snake corner, which is a tough place to be at the end of a game. P-Mob's going to towel out.
P-Mob's a well-coached team, so, you know, I think they're going to learn from this first point for sure.
Coached by Noel Tran. Noel
correct.
Tran's a longtime New England paintball player,
Yep.
part of my family up there, and also coached Baltimore Revo. I'm not sure who else he's coached, but, yeah, really good coach.
Yeah, he's been helping these guys out now for a little while as well. But, yeah, I was up there in the pro division coaching. You know, Noel's got a great resume.
Yeah.
Knows what he's doing. Great head for the game. So we're lucky enough that they come over to our field in New Jersey, Battle Creek, and we get to practice them beforehand, before most of the events.
To be clear, not the Battle Creek that makes all the cereal. That
No,
one's up in Michigan.
Although if we have cereal there, that would be great as well. It could be a good addition.
All right, so we got Sacramento DMG versus Golden Misfits next. Misfits are going to be on our left.
Really love the Golden Misfits. What a program, what a story.
They had a hell of a game yesterday to come back from behind and win versus BZ Fearless.
Aggressive break from DMG here, taking that God bunker. Losing a player, though, out of the Dorito side, 2 players. A little bit of bleeding here.
Misfits more conservative on the breakout, and that's going to pay dividends because they pick up immediate kills.
Yep.
They are up to this 50 wedge over here on the snake side.
So that 50 wedge is going to apply all sorts of pressure. Oh, there we see another guy drop from DMG.
That 50 wedge immediately shot the player trying to get into the snake for DMG. That's where it paid off.
There's a nice little alleyway there. He probably got, that's exactly who shot that can as well. Now he's going to go hunting. Oh.
This is falling apart very quickly for DMG. I appreciate the last player of DMG trying to make something happen, but...
Got to die on your sword sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Usually I die on the other team's sword, but switch it up.
I believe that's called getting stabbed.
Yeah.
Point approved.
All right, good first point for DMG and Misfits, I guess. Unfortunately, I mean, the breakout was pretty conservative, and it paid off immediately in kills.
Your guns are in the right zones on this particular field. It's pretty incredible because a conservative breakout can turn into a very fast point like we've seen these last 2 points.
Here we go. Here's a look at the breakout from the last game, Misfits.
Oh, and 1 gun down also, if you notice that.
I don't know if he had gun problems or just – I think he was afraid of shooting his own player.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain that.
Hard to see. DMG attacking that snake. Losing their entire Dorito side got blown out right off the rip.
Yeah, it looks like their home player just stayed up gunning just a little bit too long. All right, preferred Mob versus Growl. Growl on my left, Mob on our right. Mob down by a point. Maybe a slight false start.
Best start there.
Well, the first player's taking a walk for Greenville, Growl.
And Mob does have a presence in the Doritos.
Here we go. The Mob's going to try to get into the snake. They do.
Mob losing a player out of the support player on the Dorito side out of the can.
Both teams in the snake mirrored up. I don't think P-Mob is aware of the snake player yet, or at least not the P-Mob snake player. Now he knows.
P-Mob losing another player. P-Mob's got 3 players here.
Yeah. Greenville Golf starting to move up that inside snake. He's hunting through the middle for kills. I think he's going to go stab the P-Mob player.
His body language was that he didn't know where he was. Now he does, of course.
He does.
And it's curtains.
Ooh, that was close.
It certainly was close.
Yeah, it's close to a penalty, but no penalty called. It was not egregious. I'm not going to pretend that was a slam dunk for a flag.
It is tough to dig this guy out of the snake corner here.
So I had a conversation about that earlier. I do think there's a blind shot from D2
there certainly is.
Over the juice box into that corner.
That's John Derulo over there also. Really great player.
Yeah.
Good head for the game. That's Matt's brother.
But he's in a bad situation. That's not a great place to live there.
And he loses his buddy, too.
And he's about to get stabbed.
There it is.
Yeah.
Greenville opening up a 2-0 lead here.
If you were to tell me to pick any bunker on this field that I don't want to be in a down body situation, it's that snake corner.
Agreed.
Yeah, that is a rough place to be. So P-Mob's going to drop 2 points in a row. Greenville Growl in a great situation. Here's the breakout.
We've got 2 points in a row. It's still 13 minutes left, so I mean, there's so much time.
Ton of time.
Again, like we talked about, this field gives you the ability to kind of be conservative on the break, but if your lanes are in the right spots, you're really going to have a lot of success.
So I'm going to cede to the coach here that knows a hell of a lot more than I do, but it's interesting. When I started looking at this field last week when the layout was dropped and I got a chance to walk it, I really thought that this field offered a lot of opportunities for running.
It does. The issue, though, is that there's a lot of small spots that are like 80% spots. So if you have your guns in those spots and you've got that kind of chance, even if guys are running, it's really they're small windows and they're only those windows.
Yeah.
If you notice, it's the same guys dying often.
Yes.
Same spots.
That's absolutely correct. All right, DMG Misfits.
Misfits going up the center here, in the pocket, but way up the center.
DMG does get out to that corner Dorito, but other than that, a fairly standard breakout.
Misfits lose their center play, their home player.
Oh, a body ref coming in, yanks the home, and he reached for his flag. He didn't pull it for DMG.
I see.
So 2 GMG players walking off.
What DMG does really well is damage control. Those guys are going to get the communication around and be able to figure it out pretty quickly.
Well, you can't spell damage control without DMG.
DMG, I guess,
sense.
right?
Please, in the chat, tell me to stop making jokes.
I believe that's Trent Nida. Great pickup for the Golden Misfits here. Over in that tower, number 22. Brings a little bit of pro experience over there, having played for the Ironman.
DMG player getting picked out of that juice box there near the snake side. That's going to leave 2 bodies left. DMG's already down by 1 point.
Vegas playing very calm here, making DMG come to Vegas.
So we talk about not going wolf pack at the end of a game like this, meaning oftentimes teams up in bodies in this situation, players all want to be the guy to finish out the game, and they start getting sloppy trying to finish it.
I mean, are we saying that just because I'm in the booth? Because that's my team?
Yeah,
I like it very much.
That was a thinly veiled shot directly at you.
I like it. That's fantastic. We'll take it.
The tension in the booth.
Wolves hunt together. That's what we say.
Just went up. So. No, I mean, I call it wolf pack because suddenly you got 4 players or 3 players all trying to be the guy
running
that closes
everybody.
out the game,
true.
and then they either start getting penalties or just start running into guns.
We talk about it a lot, and as you mature in this division, and a lot of our guys have been in this division. A lot of the guys you're seeing have been in this division for a little while. Those are the things that start to change over time. Guys that were running down the field reckless will be the guys that kind of pull up in like a 30 or 40 bunker, turn around and tell their guys, hey, take a breath, whatever their call is, whether it's story time or some other call you created, just to, sometimes taking that second actually puts you in a better position anyway.
I'm a huge proponent of being calm enough on the field that you can say order lunch while you're under fire. Because if you're that calm, you can make better decisions.
Absolutely.
And when players are so amped up that they're just going out of their mind, they're not making great decisions on the field.
And you got to know the personnel as well. Like we have 1 or 2 guys that they play better when they're in that zone where you think that they're lights out.
Yeah.
Here we go. P-Mob digging out to the Dorito 2, it looks like. He makes it. That's going to help him.
We have a gun problem over here, though, for Greenville Growl.
In the tower, too, in a spot that's the guy that's going to hold up their snake side.
Absolutely.
If John recognizes that, he's going to take a bite.
So right now, P-Mob in that snake insert bunker.
If you take a look over here, Greenville also has 3 guns looking this way. Up now that tower switches back to the Dorito side.
But they still have plenty of guns dedicated to stop the move into the snake.
Looks like 5-on-5 here, yeah?
Yeah. No bodies walking off yet.
Yep.
We have P-Mob over in that D corner. His gun is dedicated.
He's just looking at the inside, trying to cut the inside off. Now, Greenville takes the 30 Dorito.
Greenville
loses their snake player.
Snake, but they're going to lose 1. Yeah, and the ref's going to throw a minor on that. I think that's a pack hit on the Greenville crowd.
It is, right there.
That's really rough to get a minor on that when,
Greenville immediately filling the corner and shooting the snake player.
2 P-Mob players walking off. Another one about to get checked by a ref.
This is kind of exactly what you talked about. A lot of guys moving around here in the chaos.
Yeah. Game settling down a little bit.
Now, Greenville in this bunker here at the Snake, that's a great bunker to kind of live in, control this side of the field in. As I say that, he gets almost shot.
And now he does.
Commentator curse.
Yeah, P-Mob player coming up the Snake saw the butt pack exposed and just blew him up.
And P-Mob on the other side, they're going to take this point.
Yeah, they're going to get the game back to 1-on-2, assuming a clean hang. By the way, if you're relatively new to the sport, you'll occasionally hear me say something like hang. That's a reference to the old days when we actually had flags that you have to hang.
Now,
you have to pull
that's the old buzzer.
Yeah, now it's buzzer. So, but it's hard for me not to keep going to terminology that I used 20 years ago.
Gotta love the term hang as well. It just flows out of it. You know? It's great. Oh, we got the hang. It's good.
So we never know what percentage of this audience is hardcore paintball players that are tournament players, and what percentage is friends and family that they have players here playing, and they want to see their son or their best friend play paintball. So sometimes I stop and explain terms that.
It's great for the game, and what you guys are doing here on the Semi-Pro webcast and the WNXL webcast is it's invaluable. It's invaluable as a player to be able to go home and scout in the air conditioning as well. I won't lie at all.
I think it works both for scouting, and I think it just helps the sport grow.
It certainly does.
And I think it helps for prestige reasons, too. It helps these teams feel like what I did is important.
It does, yeah.
All right, Misfits on the left, DMG on the right.
DMG immediately making an aggressive move to that outside Snake. He's asking for a check.
Misfits, they do the corner run into the Snake, which we're starting to see a little bit more of today. Unfortunately, they do lose a player in the process. Yep. And Misfits moving up the Dorito side.
DMG player got checked out. He is clean. He's going to start his attack over here.
Misfits doing a better job pressing the field, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Ooh, players peeling off for DMG.
DMG is bleeding a bit here.
DMG would...
There it is.
There's a towel.
They are pushing the tempo.
Wow. So, in that breakout, I think what I saw was DMG being a little bit more conservative in their breakout, but they did pay off. They did get a kill. But unfortunately, the people that killed weren't the Misfit players that were going real far afield and the ones that did the damage.
This field, what it does allow you to do is it allows you to sit sort of in the pocket and what appears to be, like we said before, a conservative breakout. But then you've got this guy busting out here to the Snake, so you've got somebody wide. Mm-hmm. Now, it's tough because, he had to ask for a check right away, which took, let's say it took 7 or 8 seconds. That's a long time for you not to be on your gun.
Yeah.
And what happened? They fill the Snake because that guy's not looking down the alleyway. And, we get what we just saw. And he winds up being in a spot that's very important, and all his support players around him are.
We also saw a minor, if I'm not mistaken, on the.
I think on the far side. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I don't believe he got a minor.
Was that the previous match?
That was the previous one, I think.
Point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right, P-Mob up into that God bunker.
Greenville Growl with a good breakout. Unfortunately, they lose their Snake player. Oh, now there's a minor going up on Growl.
Okay. P-Mob loses one out of two. One out of the center and one from support on the Snake side.
Growl player on the field pleading his case. He needs to get off or he's going to get another flag.
Yeah, a lot of talking penalties, as there should be.
This field, the refs have definitely thrown penalties for talking. Greenville Growl player getting a check, called clean in that God bunker.
I like where P-Mob is as far as for a 3-on-3. You can initiate some offense out of here.
Oh, it's 3-on-2 at most. I believe I saw 3 Greenville Growl players walk off. We got the tower over on the Dorito side for Greenville Growl, and this Snake insert, which is now moving into the Snake.
We've got the Dorito 1, the Dorito can, and then the Snake can over here for P-Mob. They got to figure out who's got the ball and who's the extra player in that case.
They're up bodies, but it turns out they're not the ones that take advantage of the situation.
True. Yeah. This guy over here in the 50, hopefully they recognize that. He immediately strikes.
2 more P-Mob players walking off. This is over.
Great job for Growl here.
Wow. That game was there for P-Mob to take, and unfortunately I'm not sure they recognize the body situation.
I think you're correct.
Yeah. That's rough. So P-Mob's going to go down 3-1. 10 minutes on the clock, which is a ton of time. This is certainly not fait accompli or anything of that nature.
Well, what have we seen so far? And there's been, 5 minutes come off?
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, here's a game with another game with a lot of time on the clock. 12. How are we at 3-0 already, and there's still 12 minutes on the clock?
And neither team is running everywhere. That's what's so incredible. So, these guys, their skill level shooting off the break is pretty high.
So, by the way, last match, East Coast Effect, about halfway through the match, figured out some magic sauce for getting a player into the Snake on the break every single time. And then that player would be at the 50 within about 3 seconds.
Nightmare.
And it was blowing up matches. And my only complaint was, why didn't they do this earlier?
Right,
Because
right.
it was unbelievable how effective it was, but they started doing it too late in the match for it to
It's true.
to claw back.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Vegas again in the pocket. Well, they've got a guy in Dorito too, so I wouldn't actually call it the pocket.
DMG rolls the dice. They try to get his guy into that snake wall one. It doesn't
their
work.
entire snake side just got blown out.
Yeah.
My word.
3 players walking off. And the guy trying to get into the snake for DMG, they took a risk. It didn't work out. But they had 2 other players walk off that I think just lost gunfights.
Vegas losing a player here. Trent, though, in the 50 section.
It's all over.
And it's over.
Yeah, it's over. There's nothing left over.
The storyline here is really incredible. You've got a DMG team that, although new to the division, is, a pedigree team. A team that's well coached and, has the opportunity to play against pro-level teams and things like that. And then you've got the Vegas guys that are new and hungry in the division. We had a great match against them in Chicago in the Ochos, I believe. And what a great team. Well coached, classy guys, really good players.
This could be my famous compliment wrapped in insult, but I feel like they made a big jump. I don't think I saw Misfits play as well at Chicago as I have seen them here today.
They've got a lot of experience in the WC.
Yeah.
And they do very well there. So, and again, Mike, that league is a great league, and there's lots of, high-level competition.
Well, they're playing fantastic this weekend.
3-1 Greenville P-Mob here.
10 seconds.
P-Mob's got to figure something out. There's still a lot of time on the clock, but the score is starting to get out of hand.
P-Mob looking like they're running both ways.
Yep, they're going to run for D1, definitely. They're in clean. They go out to
the corner.
Snake corner. He might be getting checked, though.
Losing a player out of the home. I think they tried to double that home where he sat in the dead spot.
There it is. They lost their snake corner and their home. P-Mob's down 2 players already.
Greenville with 5. You're going to start to see that, the Growl coach and Growl players are pretty disciplined. I think you're going to start to see them, lock it down here and, with the understanding that they have to come to us. Point margin doesn't matter anymore.
You know what? Chicago and Philly, I think I saw some of the best snake play out of P-Mob in terms of individual players going in there. So it's a shame. This layout is making it very difficult to get into the snake.
It is.
Especially off the break. And that's kind of penalizing P-Mob maybe more than the other teams.
It's, it's one of those snakes where it's an opportunity snake. You have to take the opportunity when it presents itself, and you can't force it.
Yeah. Well, P-Mob player makes a
Running
bump
ref.
over to the
There it
can.
is.
Ref checks him out. He's going to get yanked. And I think that's going to do it. Okay.
So now the spread, that 3-point spread, that's the deadly number there. That's tough.
Yeah,
you got to start running at people.
The clock you can kind of ignore as far as an important fact right now. You just that score differential.
Well, speaking of score differential, I mean, DMG is in a situation here where it's do or die.
Yeah. Again, so don't worry about the clock if you're at home watching or if you're coaching. You can ignore the clock right now.
Yeah.
But this score is starting to get out of hand. Now, that said, we've seen some matches today where teams can come back. Like, I've seen teams string together 30-second points, 2 or 3 in a row. Yeah, 2 or 3 in a row. So it's not impossible, and there's a ton of time on the clock. But
it's certainly that type of field when you're utilizing the center. Guys get lost in there, and that's dangerous on a field like this. You turn the corner and shoot 3 guys.
All right, here we go. DMG versus Misfits. DMG needs to pull something.
They got to run at them, and they do. Taking the Dorito, making it clean, losing their home player, DMG.
Misfits doubled up at home. Now they're breaking it out.
Big bite into the Dorito 3 for DMG. I'd like to see this tower player over here on the snake side start to get on his horse a little bit.
Well, Misfits mirror up in the tower now. Their home player bumped up to that snake side tower. So it's going to make it tough for the DMG player to get into the snake.
DMG losing their Dorito attacker. Misfits losing their player out of the Dorito side tower, I believe.
Yep. DMG needs to figure out how to get past this snake tower that's holding them back.
Yeah. They work their way out to the Dorito side, which I would imagine is the right thing to do right now, as this tower is very safe and just raining paint down this alleyway. And that's going to do it.
That's a major on DMG.
That's the last body.
Yeah, and that's going to be the match for them.
Vegas with a 5-0.
This is a rough Saturday morning for DMG. This is not how they wanted to start this.
Or how they wanted to end it.
No. That is, oof. All
Hats
right.
off to Vegas, though. I mean, that's a good team they just beat. It's an excellent team with pedigree.
Can you say what Vegas did to win that match?
I think they were very calm and collected. I think, like what we talked about before, a solid game plan that I don't think they deviated from it very much. It's one of those situations where they're not beating us. Why are we going to show anything else?
They would get their kills, they'd go up by a body or two, and then they'd stay calm.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Losing a body for them wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Losing a body sometimes can be such a, people freak out.
Yep.
Now, what happens, what you really have to do is, hey, that body was covering this zone. Do we make sure that zone is covered? Okay, great.
Yeah. Players often will abandon their game plan when they hear their buddy died.
Freestyle a little bit.
Yeah.
So, P-Mob looking like they're running the Dorito side. And they do.
Greenville Growl guns heavy on the break.
P-Mob into the Dorito 2 off the break. He's going to look inside, try to catch some of those center players. As I say center player, the P-Mob center player gets shot.
Greenville Growl starting to make their spread. They're playing real conservative, guns up. Their Dorito player makes the bump to D2. Ref checks him out, he's clean. Greenville Growl is just going to keep shooting and shooting and shooting and just try to drag this out.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah, P-Mob has to attack. They have to win this.
P-Mob players very focused on the Dorito side.
Yeah, you know what? They're not making stupid mistakes right now, even though the pressure's on them to somehow figure out a way to win this. But they're not making dumb moves that are getting them blown up.
And the one gun over on the snake side shoots a Greenville Growl player.
Yeah, both teams
losing another player.
Losing a body from the snake side.
That was John Derula sitting in the back there who took care of the Greenville Growl player from the center. He immediately transitions over to that snake side can. First looking inside, now playing heads up against his mirror. When we say his mirror, that would be the same bunker he's in on the other side.
Yeah.
Good communication going on, so I can hear them through the headphones.
Growl's still doing exactly what they need to do, which is sit on their guns and just make it
running
difficult.
Ref. Looking like he caught a bouncer.
You can tell the way a ref is running how this situation is going to turn out, and there's a major.
That indeed did not bounce.
Oof. Did he just kill somebody? Because that would be a major. That's Derula.
Yep. Or if it's an obvious hit and he pulls his trigger, a lot of times I've seen that. More the problem though is the obvious hit line has been blurred throughout the years.
Yeah. Now, if you're reading the rule book, and by the way, nobody reads the rule book, the term obvious and inobvious hit really isn't in the rule book anymore. I don't believe. So back in the day, the penalties were defined by obvious versus inobvious. That would change how bad the penalty was. An obvious hit would be, a goggle hit or a hit on your hand or, something that you couldn't pretend I didn't know.
Right.
And then a hit on your butt pack or the top of your hopper was considered inobvious. They did away with that because they kind of didn't want the refs to have to make that judgment call on players arguing what they knew or didn't know.
I think what it turned into is the referees are still cognizant of, hey, it's obvious, and that you knew that was there and you made a decision to play on. Pretty interesting.
May I ask what you're seeing out of refs, not just this weekend, but for the whole year, as far as a player running from bunker A to bunker B, he gets shot mid-run, and he finishes his dive, he gets into the bunker, and doesn't pull his trigger. I've seen refs throwing minors on that, which is a little surprising to me.
It's about where you're – so what it was explained to me, I think the refs have done a better job this year than years past. Not to say that years past were bad, because I'm still playing the tournament, and I'm not going to say that years are bad. No, but they really have. They've stepped their game up, especially on the semi-pro field. I feel like they've got a good crew of refs here, and they're kind of invested in making sure that the refs aren't a part of the game. Unfortunately, referees are like a piece of equipment. That's where the obvious and unobvious thing comes in. I think that's still in the referee's head, and I think it should be. Because if somebody makes a move and they know they have a hit on them, they should be penalized for it.
So the line in the sand, for those of you at home, between a yellow and a red flag is how much damage to the game situation that occurs after your hit has hit you, right? So if you shoot another player with a hit on you, whether it's obvious or not, it's a major. It's pretty straightforward. If you do some other actions where you don't necessarily kill somebody, but you had a hit on you and it had a big effect on the game, they can also throw the major. So an example of that would be like, let's say you run through the middle, you never pull your trigger. You just run straight from your home box to their home box, which doesn't happen very often, and you draw so many guns that your teammates can then make a bunch of counter moves off it. That would be a justifiable case for major, even 100%. Though you never pulled your trigger.
Yep.
So
now, we're in X-Ball here, which people at home, I think, aren't all the tournaments X-Ball?
Right.
So have you explained that to them, what we're talking about?
I have, but feel free with different match, maybe new viewers, so go ahead.
Right. So we're in what we would call X-Ball now. The time between points changes because one match has ended. In this format, we play two matches at the same time, split deck. And one match is now over, so the time between points gets increased a little bit because you don't have that time where the other team is playing their match. So things are a little more dire.
Yeah, and if your team is in that X-ball situation where you have no there's no game going on between your game, the pits get a lot more hectic.
They do.
You do not have much time to clean off hits, reload.
It comes down to the haves and have-nots. If you're out here with one guy filling pods, you might be in trouble.
Yeah, your staffing matters a lot in that situation.
Here we go. Let's see if they can. Greenville can close the door here.
P-Mob needs a little bit of a miracle here.
Greenville very conservative, obviously valuing their bodies. That guy's been able to make that Dorito all time, so there's no reason not to go there.
P-Mob doesn't take any crazy risks on the breakout. 5 alive.
Time is their friend.
Yeah. First player walking off for Greenville.
That's that gun of John Derula again.
And at the same time, one of the players walking off for P-Mob from that can.
Yep.
That snake side can.
Another player dropping for Greenville out of the Dorito side. Their Dorito attacker dropping. He was in the Dorito.
So I would argue that time is now an issue, right? We're at 7 minutes. They're down by 4 points. P-Mob, the clock is not their friend. It still seems like there's a lot of time, but there's not when you start figuring out how many points they're going to need to win.
Well, now they've lost their entire snake side.
Yeah.
This is a little different now.
P-Mob still has the D2 alive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So the Growl player moving up into that wedge bunker in the center, being able to really close the angle. He's going to go stuff somebody. There it is. And he lives, which is always nice. 2, I believe he got.
And I think he's going to be able to hit the buzzer clean.
It is over here.
Boy, he saved me from looking like an idiot there, because what I was about to say, if I'm Greenville Growl, is I get to the 50 and then I put on the brakes and stop there. And he ignores what I was about to say and goes right through the middle, blows up the last Piedmont player. And
sometimes you feel it, right? And credit to the players around him. He had the information he needed to understand the angle that, hey, I've shot this first guy. I don't need to worry about this other guy shooting me because of where he is. And then even gets to hang the buzzer because he does it clean.
Yeah. That's the amazing part. He did it clean. There wasn't a trade. Players at this level are so good, even when being caught by surprise by, say, a bunker, bunkering coming at them, to get their gun around and take the guy with them, and doing it legally. They're so good at that. It's actually rather surprising when you see a player do a run-through and not, get blown up.
Yeah, it certainly is rare these days.
Well, that is going to wrap up that match. I felt like that was a fairly fast match.
Hey, I'm looking at the clock here. We've got 5:55 left on this game, and there was 10 minutes and 53 seconds. I didn't realize that Vegas won that quickly.
That was a very fast match.
I don't know if you guys are keeping records yet, but you might want to look into that being a record. That's a fast match.
You have a chance to shout out anybody you want to thank for on behalf of your team while you're here?
Yeah, I would love to thank Battle Creek Paintball. Chris Straza plays on the team as well, but owns what we feel is the finest team in New Jersey. Finest field in New Jersey and the finest team in New Jersey. We're out here playing as Leverage this event. It's a little bit different. We combined the Padres and Leverage. We had some roster issues with people. Real life starts to get in the way sometimes. So we combined our roster, took the best of the rest, if you will. And we're out here having some success so far.
Yeah.
So thank you to Battle Creek Paintball. Thank you to Tropic Thunder. Guys who are supporting us, our pit crew, our staff. Thanks to all the wives, girlfriends, kids at home as well. Shout out Todd Martinez for always hooking us up with the best soft goods we could get, and that's what's up. Thanks to my teammates. We do a lot for ourselves, a lot for each other, and thanks to P-Mob also for coming out helping us to get ready.
I'm gonna back you up in one thing. You have to give a huge shout out to the wives and girlfriends, mothers, whatever. To come out and play at this level, the amount of practice time you need to put in.
Oh, it's insane.
The amount of travel time you need to put in.
Yeah.
It is a lot to ask. So you really do. Your support staff at home is pretty important.
It's such a huge burden financially, and then on your I'll say real life,
Yeah.
Because we do, we all talk about it in paintball players and paintball lore is that, hey, you're going to live as fast as you can for these 3 or 4 days. And, it really is. You're trying to put everything behind you and focus on what's going on. We're playing a sport where people are shooting at each other.
Yeah.
And it's a high stress sport where people got to come out there, they're risking their bodies, and it doesn't feel great sometimes when you get shot up a lot, and there's a lot to explain when you go back to work on Monday.
Why you do this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I had a blast.
That was a great match. Good luck
for
the
the
rest of your
weekend.
weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. We'll
Thanks,
be right
guys.
back.